Hey, how's everybody doing? It's Thor Marino here with Everything True Cinema page, and this is Everything True Sports. I'm going to talk to you about the 49ers again. I put a video up, as some of you may know. Um, I think I put it up on Friday evening, and man, did some of you guys get testy. The subject matter was about Grant Cohn and was whether or not he was an unbiased reporter or if he was somebody that just seems like he hates the 49ers and bitches about them and Kyle and Brock and so on. And I guess one of the things I want to say before we go any further is that I do think that some of his work is pretty good. I do think that some of his work is pretty good. I think he's benefited greatly from his father, who is superb and was a wonderful reporter, and takes that craft very seriously. And I do think that Grant's heart is in the right place, but I also do believe, as I said in my last video, that sometimes I think that he's not reporting from an unbiased position, and that he is looking more for um, clicks and get people fired up. And I think that his posts are often evidence of that. That being said, um, I know that it did fire up some people, and that's great. Like, if you notice, I'm not going to delete your comments. If you present an argument and you do it with some decorum, then I'm not going to delete your comments if you disagree with me, and even if you're forceful in your disagreement, which some of you were. It doesn't bother me. Like, I don't know who you are, so I will respect you as a human being and as a passionate sports fan, and probably a Niners fan if you're here, because you deserve that. So I'm not going to delete your comments, and I appreciate you watching and taking the time to comment on what we're talking about here. I know that there's a lot of people that do exactly what I'm doing, and if you're here, then you're probably a pretty passionate fan looking for any maybe new information or conversation about your team. And so I appreciate, respect you for watching it and taking the time to say something. So that's that. But one of the things that I did realize because of this last video was how there is a very strong opinion about the beat writers. And I wanted to discuss that for a couple minutes because I think the 49ers in particular are pretty passionate. We're obviously very passionate fans, and we've gone through a lot. We have a great team now, but I think we all know that maybe we can sense that there might be some window, as players like Kittle get a little bit older. Yes, we have Brock, which is wonderful. But I'm grateful that we have Brock, but there are some players that are getting a little bit older. We're not going to have them forever. Trent is another one. This is not new, but what I do want to talk about is how the beat writers, some of them are excellent, and they keep us entertained and informed, and I'm grateful for them all, because when we're in this off season, with the exception of a couple of events like obviously free agency, which is coming up, and the draft, there's not a lot to talk about, and those guys have to drum up conversations. They have to come up with sometimes ridiculous scenarios to keep us coming back, and I can appreciate that too, that content creators have to come up with something to talk about, and I'm no different. I'm going to talk about how mad you guys were that I picked on Grant a little bit. Now, that being said, a lot of people said Lombardi is a homer. So's Krug, the Krug show, Larry. I think that's absurd. I think you're wrong if you feel that way. And again, you have that right. But listen, There is no one that I know of. And if you know somebody better at it, please tell me. But David Lombardi, his stats and his chart, I mean, the guy goes out. It's amazing what he's producing to show us these things that he's claiming. It's one thing to be able to talk crap and say, make things up, and and we see this all the time, you know. But for him to be able to put this into an explanation that laymen can understand and see the proof is something that we should be grateful that we have. And when people talk about him like he isn't good at his job or he's just a homer, it's kind of I mean, that's your opinion, but I think that you're wrong. Now, Larry, on the other hand, that guy, who I think seems like one of the nicest guys in the world, and I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk poorly of him. Now, he does swing for the fences on some of his theories, and again, I mean, sometimes they're fun. Everybody laughed at him when he said we could try and get Belichick as the defensive coordinator, but then we found out that Kyle actually called him. So I don't think his points are all that outlandish. I think sometimes I like probably some of you kind of roll your eyes. You're like, come on, man. But I think he does a really good job. And honestly, I think while he does come across as somewhat biased, he's clearly a fan of the team. I think that a lot of the stuff that he is talking about is fair. And so that's all I want to say. I just wanted to get on here. I'm going to be doing some other things, talking about the Niners and football in general. But I just thought that a quick response to your passionate responses yesterday on the page was due. And I just wanted to thank you guys for coming on here and discussing that and giving me your opinions. And I hope you guys have a great day. And please consider subscribing, because I'm going to be putting more stuff up on there. You got nothing to lose.